Las Vegas 2012, and another incredible chapter in the history of Sin City is about to be written. This is a poker game like no other. Entry fee, $1 million.
Biggest tournament ever, guaranteeing 18 million for the winner.
To see it will be to believe it.
It was called a crazy idea 1 year ago when announced.
I remember very clearly finding out that there was going to be $1 million tournament at the World Series, and I remember what my reaction was. Never.
This is where they can turn a dream into a reality.
I think everybody's winning.
48 players have paid to enter. Among them, a former plumber turned British poker sensation.
I could get knocked out in the first hand if I was really unlucky and just get like 5 minutes of play for $1 million is insane.
Sam Trickett's incredible gift has already earned him millions, but there's been a price to pay.
I don't know what he had, but he certainly had life-changing money for most people, and he didn't have it very long.
I just bled it away. I got myself into debt, and this is when I realised I had a problem.
That was when I started to get a little bit worried.
I remember sat on my own crying and stuff because I was so upset the way things had turned out.
Now Sam's taking the gamble of his life in pursuit of poker greatness.
Sam Trickett at risk of being knocked out.
When you put in a big bet and you're bluffing, it's like lying to the missus.
Coming up, what really happens in Vegas at poker's top table.
Sam Trickett needs help immediately.
I can't handle this. The pressure's too much.
And I just knew straight away I was going to win.
Oh my goodness!
What kind of person is willing to make a $1 million decision at the turn of a card?
I just feel like comfortable at a poker table, and I always feel like I'm the best player at the table.
And we're with Sam every nerve-shredding step of the way in the one drop.
It was like he was going into a boxing fight.
Sam Trickett!
I just said, how are you feeling? He said, I feel great. He said, I'm going to do it.
Shuffle up and deal! Govern! Yay!
Money, 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 money. I'm rolling in the money, 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 money. I get that. Fast money in up. I get that. Fast money in up. Money, 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 money. I'm rolling in the money, 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 money. I get that. Fast money in up.
Get the money, man. Get the money, man. Get the money, man.
This was the last 200,000. The buy, I wired the other 800,000. So hopefully this is lucky money. I'll go turn it into 18 million.
There have been some whispers in the past, the last 2 years, of different $1 million tournaments, whether it be in Monte Carlo or Vegas. I wasn't sure that anyone would be able to get it together.
I remember very clearly finding out that there was going to be $1 million buy-in tournament at the World Series, and I remember what my reaction was. Never.
It was all like laughing about it. It's not real, like the amount of money we're going to be competing for.
Started getting closer, and you realize that not only were they going to have $1 million buy-in tournament, they were going to sell out. When I heard that Sam was going to play, my first thought was, this is the spot for him.
The biggest tournament ever, guaranteeing 18 million for the winner.
I was feeling super confident and felt like I'd be one of the favourites in the tournament when it came round.
It's so outrageous. We never thought we'd get the 48 players we set out to, but we have. And the first place prize will be $18 million, and we'll also raise over $5 million for the One Drop charity, which is a water relief organization.
Many people were talking about the $1 million buy-in tournament for years, but nobody had really had the guts to just make it happen.
I worry about, the kind of person that wants to sit down. Not someone who's a billionaire businessman. If he wants to put $1 million in, good luck to him. But someone really, even like Sam Trickett, and I know that there'll be stakers and there'll be other bits and pieces, but it's frightening stuff. How do you take that mentally when you bust out of that tournament without cashing? And then you just walk back to your room and you sit there and you go, $1 million?
I'm really excited to think that I'm going to go pay $1 million to play a tournament that I could get knocked out in the first hand if I was really unlucky and just get like 5 minutes worth of play for $1 million is insane, really, but I'm not even sure if there'll ever be another event of this calibre. I could make history in the next 3 days.
Today, poker is a multi-billion-pound industry, endorsed by celebrities, glamorized by popular culture, and played by millions. A world away from the fading image of shady characters in smoky backrooms.
Poker's, it's seen a huge rise in interest from you know, the hardcore fans and the casual fans, and the way that the sport or the game, if you want, has grown.
When I started playing poker, there was a couple of guys, most of them addicted gamblers and brokes, just hanging out in the poker room trying to make enough scratch to survive. Nowadays, poker's on TV, poker's worldwide, poker's on the internet. It's the thing.
The online revolution has meant that a whole new era of poker players have started. Young people, old people, women, men. That's what's great about poker. Anyone can sit at a table. Not anyone can be a great player, but anyone can take part.
If you look, you know, at what happened between around 2000, when internet poker went live, and 2009 or 2010, when it absolutely peaked, there's probably only been, you know, a handful of industries or businesses or games that have had that sharp an uptick.
The industry's unbelievable growth has transformed public perception of the game. In 2011, the global online poker industry was worth an estimated $30 billion a year. And yet the fundamental reason for poker's universal appeal is simple. The game remains the same.
It's not just about a guy sitting there drunk with a whiskey and a cigar on the go. It's about people making mathematical decisions.
The skill is knowing that you have either A, the best hand, or B, an opportunity where you have the worst hand and you can bluff your opponent off the best hand.
The aim of the game is to win your opponent's cash or chips. A player will evaluate the winning probability of his cards, but the best hand doesn't always win.
Effectively, there are two ways to win a poker hand. You can get the best hand, which anybody can do. You can be dealt cards. Or you can bluff. When you have the worst hand, you can push your opponent off the best hand.
A mathematical brain is essential, but the great poker players combine composure with fearlessness and the gift to hide their emotions under extreme pressure.
I find it fascinating looking into the minds of these poker players, just trying to understand what kind of person they are, what kind of person is willing to make a $1 or $2 million decision at the turn of a card.
You have to be mentally tough, and you have to be willing to take calculated risks. If you're able to do that in a disciplined manner, you have a good chance of being successful.
It's a game that you can win or lose a lot of money. I play in a lot of cash games now around town. There's chances to win big money, or if you're not on your game, you can lose a lot of money. So it's something that you have to be very competitive about at all times.
You're analysing your opponent, what's happened 5 minutes ago, what happened last year when you played him in another table. You know, I just think from a mental perspective, it's probably the most intensive sport or game that is out there.
When you put in a big bet and you're bluffing, and you've got a fella sitting opposite you or sitting next to you like 3-4 inches away, and he's trying to decide whether you're bluffing or not, and he's looking into your eyes, and he's looking at your body, and he's looking at the sweat beads rolling down the top of your brow. It's like lying to the missus, you know, and she's looking at you. You know, that one little can say, yeah, cool.
When they're talking to players, they're digesting so much information, they're analysing information as the words are coming out of your mouth. You think, what a lovely guy, really interested in me. No, he's just trying to find out what kind of person you are.
And smiling brightly in the middle of this unforgiving multi-million-pound industry is Sam Trickett, unknown in Britain, renowned in the world of poker after 5 years of defeating the odds.
If I have to honestly describe Sam in a very few words to someone, completely, I'd say, you know, he's a lot smarter than you think.
Sam, if you had to go to the North Pole, what would you take with you?
Gloves. You look at him and you think to yourself, where does it all come from?
He doesn't strike you as a mathematical genius. I don't even know if he is. He must be, because he's done very, very well out of the game.
Sam Trickett just has the look of a winner. I'd never want to bet against him.
Folks, you don't see poker played any better. It's incredible what knowledge this Trickett has about poker.
Sam is a very calm, cool cat, and he's able to handle the swings and play poker at the highest stakes without it affecting his life.
It's not an easy concept to grasp that your son, he can buy and sell you.
You can't even put it into words. It's probably like when people win the lottery.
I just feel like comfortable at a poker table, and I always feel like I'm the best player at the table.
Coming up, the big one-for-one drop gets underway, and the demons that can derail even the best.
He certainly had life-changing money for most people, and he didn't have it very long.
I got myself into like £30,000 worth of debt, and this is when I realised I had a problem.
Las Vegas, and British professional Sam Trickett is about to play for the richest prize in poker history.
Sometimes I don't know where this dirty road is taking me. Sometimes I don't know the reason why, so I guess I'll keep gambling. Lots of moves and lots of rambles.
I think that all young kids want to be rich and famous and successful when they're older, and I certainly did. That's all I ever thought about. I was very money orientated.
Sam's journey began a long way from the neon glitz of Vegas. He grew up in Retford, Nottinghamshire, determined to be a footballer.
He was exceptional at most sports, and to be honest, I could never see him working in an ordinary job.
I was good at football when I was young. Nottingham Forest came in and asked me for trials. I kind of felt like I was a bit of a professional footballer back then as well, and from when I was like 13, 14, my attitude kind of stunk. I was actually left Forest because they offered me a reserve spot or something in the team, and I didn't want to be a sub.
So at 16, the failed footballer was forced to get a real job.
He was an apprentice plumber. He wasn't qualified. He was just on some, like £60 a week or something.
He was up early every morning, travelling to Nottingham every day, doing his plumbing, and he didn't get a lot of money for what he was doing.
Then Sam met the man who would become his best friend, a chance encounter that would change his life.
I've always been sort of a bit of a gambler, and I've always enjoyed poker, and we won a poker competition. Remember Sam, the first time he come, didn't really know how to play.
I remember them putting the hand rankings on the walls on bits of paper, and I'd be in a hand and I'd kind of be like, like looking to see what I was doing.
And the first time I played, I think he come 8th.
Just the way people was talking about poker that was experienced at the table, it was kind of like saying, oh, this guy, the bar's a card shark, and I'm like, card shark? I didn't even know what that meant. Asked him what it meant. He's like, oh, he's really good at playing cards, and I didn't even know you could be good at playing cards.
Within 2 months, he won 3 in a row.
To find out you could gamble at something where you could have an edge and there was skill in the game. As soon as I found that out, I got my head down and started playing loads.
And the more Sam played, the better and better he became.
This is not rigged, I promise. This is not rigged, I promise. All in.
All in. Wow.
First time. Cheers, mate. See you.
His rise was meteoric, from local pub games to high-stakes poker in less than a year. Sam quickly recognised his talent had given him an opportunity. But not even in his wildest dreams did he see this coming.
It's been called the unthinkable, unbelievable, sick, and every other adjective under the sun. But most of all, it's historic.
In Las Vegas, the curtain is about to go up on the one drop. Sam has paid $1 million to compete in the richest poker game in history.
He just knew the one drop was 100% knew he was going to do well in it. Told everybody, this is going to be my tournament, I know I'm going to do well.
All the way up in the run-up, he kept saying he's got a good feeling, he had a good feeling, and we all had this good feeling. So his mind was just in the right place. He knew we were going to do well. He was really confident.
He's got that belief, and when he's got that, and you see that in him, as a mum, you believe too.
All the build-up to the $1 million tournament was amazing. Like, he got like the Cirque du Soleil guys in on the drums and what have you. It was like he was going into a boxing fight.
In seat number 7, Sam Trickett.
I was amazed with his confidence. I was thinking back to my time playing poker, and I don't know if I was ever truly that confident.
You got that feeling that he was pointing himself towards this tournament. And, you know, when he showed up in the shorts and the T-shirt and the flip-flops, I just kind of thought to myself, wow, you know, this is his time.
The Rio Hotel in Las Vegas was the stage for a sporting first. The one drop would be the jewel in the crown at the renowned World Series of Poker, the sport's annual showpiece.
The World Series of Poker is the world's largest poker festival. It's the Olympics of poker. This is where the best poker players and amateurs collide.
There's a certain history associated with poker and a certain prestige, and the World Series of Poker is the bellwether.
It's been in play for over 45 years now, I believe. It's in Las Vegas. It's the biggest poker tournament in the world.
Winning a tournament at the World Series is pretty much the mark of respect.
When you walk in there, it's a warm feeling of bringing that many people together that share a passion for the same game and want to compete for a massive prize. It's electric.
The prize money is outrageous. People just come because this is where they can make a lot of money and turn a dream into a reality.
I was making more money in a few hours on a poker than I was going for a full week at work, so it was just disheartening going to work, slugging it out, when I was thinking in my head, I'll just go home and make that in a few hours.
He just started with his new company, they gave him a van, all new tools, and I think the boss caught him asleep, because he hadn't slept for like 2 days, so I think he'd been playing poker constant, so he got a warning, and he just said to the guy, I don't think this is for me, to be fair.
Kind of like looked at me a little bit gone out, like, what are you on about, like, because he's not really into gambling, and we decided to part ways then, and I left there and had a shot at a few tournaments and what have you, and it worked out.
His old boss wished him well and had heard the rumours that Sam had rather taken to poker.
So what have you achieved then? Achieved a nice motor?
Yeah, I've become one of the most successful poker players in the world over the last few years. Flying, really. It's gone about as good as it could have gone.
Winnings, decent winnings?
Yeah, pretty good. Since I've left you, I've cashed for like 16 million. So, like, I'm up there with, like, one of the most successful...
16 million?
Yeah, dollars.
Being wholly honest, you know, look at Sam when he was starting out, and he wasn't your average poker player. You know, when you meet Sam, he's just an ordinary bloke.
But he's an ordinary bloke living in an extraordinary world.
Sam, a bit of controversy, but you've taken it down with an 8-point lead, 10 grand. How you feel?
I don't know why he was contesting every point, saying he was cheating for 10 points in a row.
But if the start of his pro career was stunning, the world of poker would deal its precocious talent a painful lesson.
When you play with top poker players, some of them can tie you up in knots. I mean, you've both got 2 cards, the flop comes down, but sometimes you just do not know where you are. It really brings it home to you how good they are and how good you have to be to win a competition.
I entered a £100 tournament and I won it for like £4,500 or whatever. That was like my first big tournament, and I was playing against professionals, and I was like looking at them like thinking, I feel like I could compete with these guys.
After winning his first high-stakes game in the UK, Sam headed to Las Vegas, convinced his early success would continue.
I played a tournament and I won it for like $85,000, and then I used that money to play the 5K shootout and came fourth for like $250,000. So now I had proper money.
It was a shock. The first time it was $250,000, and that to me at the time was unbelievable.
I thought I was one of the best in the world and thought all sorts, because it does that to you when you're getting results in these big tournaments. It seems to come so easy. You think that wasn't so hard, I didn't play that good, and you don't realise you're just running really good, and you're not as good as you think you are. You just had some good results.
I don't know what he had, but he certainly had a life-changing money for most people, and he didn't have it very long. And I think a lot of it went on online poker.
I think that's where most young poker players go broke. They get that feeling of invincibility, and they play higher, they play bigger, and they play in games they shouldn't against tougher opponents.
When he was at home, you could tell when he was winning and when he was losing. I never used to sort of say a lot, but you could tell by his moods.
Not all these guys have the life experience that they need to manage money, and I think that's why you see them spend it or blow it or gamble it or what have you. You have to stay within your limits, you have to only gamble money you can afford, and if you're a winning poker player, you want to only use a very small portion of your bankroll in any given game.
I was just kind of punted my money away, my bankroll away, and I said to Tash, come on, let's buy an house, because I was worried that I wanted to have something to show for it. We arranged it all. A few weeks later, by the time we'd come back to like pay the money, I'd lost like half my money, so I only had about £50,000. So I realised now I couldn't do it.
Sometimes you can lose your whole bankroll and stack, and you have to go home and lay there at night and just think, what have I done?
That was when I started to get a little bit worried, because I was still working, so I was trying to give him what money I could.
The thing is, I was too proud to tell anybody, especially my parents, because they'd be gutted. My friends had come up to me because I was on the magazine, the front cover of the magazines for winning Luton and stuff. They're all like, oh, must be nice to be you have all this money and that, can you lend us this, can you lend us that? And I was like, still kind of trying to lend him it, but like, because I was too proud to say, no, I haven't got it.
He lost vast amounts playing till 3 or 4 in the morning. Sam had promised me twice that he wouldn't play online again with his credit card and rack up any more debts. This was after I bailed him out twice.
I just bled it away, taking shots, trying to chase back and playing in games that I shouldn't. I was playing in 200, 400 PLO online with like $10,000, $20,000 buy-ins, and just like, I wasn't even good at PLO. I got myself into like £30,000 worth of debt, and this is when I realised I had a problem. Me and Tash weren't getting on. I was going out drinking all the time because I was just obviously depressed. So we weren't getting on very well. We broke up.
After the rapid rise, Sam had lost it all. Owing thousands to friends and family, he left home, for South Africa.
I got offered an opportunity to go to Cape Town, teach players how to play poker. And I was looking around, didn't really have anything else to do, no other way of making money.
I think out of everyone, I was probably one of the only ones that didn't have an opinion. I just said to him, okay, good luck basically, so let's see how it goes.
She basically said, I think it's best you go to Africa, we're not getting on, we go separate ways, have a break. I remember sitting on the beach in Cape Town after a week or whatever, sat on my own crying and stuff because I was so upset the way things had turned out and I'd missed all my family and missed Tash and whatever. But I didn't have to face everybody, face interviews and face people talking about how successful I'd been, asking me about money, and so I just had to go there, and it was down-to-earth people. I went to an office full of lads my age, and I was teaching them how to play, and because I was doing that day in, day out for 4 months and playing thousands of hands myself online, that's what really took my game to the next level, and I got familiar with all these tricky situations. I'd been in all them type of spots before, so now all these decisions just become really easy for me.
Sam was ready to put his lessons in life and poker to the test. He would return to the professional circuit a better player and a wiser man. But this time, there would be no second chance.
We'll say that every poker player has gone broke at one point or the other. And that first experience of going broke often motivates people to do it properly the second time.
If you experience that, I think when you get to the top level, you can really understand what, not just life, but what poker is about, and how to stay there and remember where we were. Let's not go back there.
Coming up, the one drop gets underway. And Sam Trickett is on the comeback trail in Vegas, aiming to win poker's richest ever prize.
Folks, you don't see poker played at that level any better. It's incredible what knowledge this Trickett has about poker.
"2010, and Sam Trickett left South Africa for Las Vegas, a reformed character, desperate to prove he was now worth a place among poker's elite.
He said, I'm ready to do this, I'm going to go there and I'm going to do really well. I know I am.
When I was in Cape Town, I felt like I took my game to a new level. You know what I mean? I felt like I was playing a class above everybody else at that stage.
In the 2010 World Series, Sam wasted no time, making it to the final table by the third event of the series.
What's the prize fund? I just know it's 1.3 million for the winner. Don't really want to look at all the other jumps and stuff. Just don't be bothered, I just want to win it.
I was at work, I was working on the power station at the time. I remember I was looking at my phone every 2 minutes, checking the poker news, seeing how he's getting on, because he was on the final table.
His army of fans celebrated as Sam finished in second place. The expert verdict said he'd taken a big step back up the professional ladder. But that was no consolation to Sam.
There's nothing you can do. You has hand after hand.
Fuck me, why couldn't I have had every worst done that? Why did they just...
I'll tell you what you can have. You can have $250,000 tomorrow morning whenever you want to go and collect it. Yeah? That's not so terrible.
It's not terrible at all.
I came second for 500,000. I felt like I was really unlucky heads up as well. I didn't regret any hands I played. And then I went on to break a record as well. I had most no limit hold'em cashes in one series than anyone ever. I had 8 cashes in no limit hold'em.
Sam was back, just as hungry, but now more mature.
I just kept winning. I just kept playing and just kept winning. And I just still felt like that. This edge that I'd created in Cape Town, I think it was still there. I just felt like my edge was there.
And at the 2010 World Open, poker realised Trickett was the real deal.
At that time, he really exploded off the page. Not just in my mind, but in poker's mind.
Sam mixed composure and fearlessness to bluff one of the world's greatest players off his winning hand.
Sam was against Yevgeny Timoshenko, who's basically considered a beast.
The bet is $88,000, so not a small value bet by any means. It's not going to raise it here.
I mean,
the question is you're going to pay off the $88,000.
Yeah. And I remember Mike Sexton sitting in the box next to me, and he said, well, I don't know what Trickett's thinking about. There's no way he'll raise here. That'd just be crazy.
There's no purpose in raising. The guy's stealing or he's not stealing.
All in.
Oh, my gosh. I take it back.
And Timoshenko's calling.
It's unbelievable that he's done this.
Pretty hard to
I don't know that he is.
Sam pushed all his chips in, which was crazy.
It was brilliant poker. Timoshenko bought the bluff, folding a key hand, and Sam would win his first major title.
Folks, you don't see poker played at that level any better. It's incredible what knowledge this Trickett has about poker.
Look at this. Your newest champion for the Party Poker World Open 6. A big round of applause here.
The world of poker had a new star. Confident, good-looking, but with a steel that belied his age. Just 5 years after taking up the sport, Sam Trickett was a natural.
It takes a lot of grasping. It's not an easy concept to grasp that your son, you're bailing him out, and 1 minute later he can buy and sell you, and he can buy a bigger house than you, he can buy the cars, and it seems that he's achieved everything that he set out to do.
Sam's incredible streak continued. At the Aussie Millions poker tournament, he had the sort of week that can define a career.
A nice swing towards Sam Trickett, and this is the tournament.
Over that 5 days, 6 days, I'd won about $3 million. So obviously a massive amount of money. This is when I got life-changing money.
He'd rocketed into the world of multi-millionaire sports star.
You could say Sam Trickett lives the life of a Premier League footballer. He earns similar money, probably earns more.
Sam's living a dream. You know, the only thing that's better for Sam, he don't have to train and run around and get a sweat on.
Sam's the kind of people that, you know, the younger generation will aspire to, because you look at Sam Trickett and you think, wow, look at him, he's earned millions and he drives this car and he's got that house. I want to be like Sam Trickett.
If Sam has a new respect for money, he still has a talent for spending it.
It's obviously not sensible or not, like, financially smart decision, but it's almost like trophies for me. Every time I've done well in tournaments or in pokers, I like to treat myself, and it's almost like a trophy to look back on. I still can't believe it, if you want the truth. The last few years, I've gone from like spiraled from like beast having no money to literally study a shopping, but it's all surreal, really.
Trickett's latest trophy is a Ferrari. Price tag, £275,000.
Roaring, I just felt like a lion. It was unbelievable. So yeah, I put a smile on my face. I couldn't stop smiling, like a little kid just smiling. So yeah, I think that was what did it for me.
As good as sex?
Depends. I'm pretty good at sex, so like probably not. You know, depends. Probably better than your sex, but like yeah, my sex now.
If money is no longer an object, the desire to win burns more brightly than ever. Nothing can replace the thrill of risking and then winning it all. But as Sam discovered, the better you become, the more people take notice.
Once you've made it and you make it big, people will like start mimicking your style. So then that's fine, but if they mimic it so good that they're as good as Sam then, so there might be 20 of them.
The next year in 2011, I went back to the World Series. Still feeling good, feeling fresh and confident, and I didn't do anything. I had no cashes, and a lot of people had tipped me to win a bracelet. What have you?
Right now, do you just kind of think I'd almost rather play bad and run good than play like you're playing?
I'll take anything right now. I've played good in enough tournaments to like get my fair share of run good. I felt like people had adjusted to my style because they'd been watching me on TV, and I'd had some results on TV, and I felt like it was only till after the World Series I realised that I had to readjust and take my game and keep trying to get to the next level and stay above everyone else.
Whether you're broke or you have money, the swings of poker are massive. And that same mental toughness that allowed Sam to rally from being broke to being a multi-millionaire is the same mental toughness he uses every day at the poker table. He's motivated by winning.
Which is why in the summer of 2012, Sam Trickett returned to Las Vegas, determined to win the richest poker prize ever. He would be leaving nothing to chance.
Got an apartment at the Palms Place myself, kept myself from everybody, and just got my head down, and I even did a little bit of research on the players, which I've never done in my life for any tournament.
And going into the event, his sponsors were confident Sam was a gamble worth taking.
Myself personally and another owner of Matchbook, and we've watched him progress from £100 local poker games to the highest stakes games in the world. And with the lineup of recreational players as well as other professional poker players that Sam has a lot of experience playing, we truly knew that it was a good bet to bet on Sam in the one-drop tournament.
I wanted to get a good table draw, which is like basically a table full of amateurs. Just makes decisions a little bit easier. When I looked at the table draw, it wasn't so good. It could have been a lot better.
Trickett had a really interesting table because it was a mix of a lot of the really young guns in poker. It wasn't any of the really big TV names, but among the elite. It was considered one of the tougher tables in the tournament. And, you know, day one is about balancing, building, and surviving. You get knocked out the first day, you probably made a big mistake.
There was one significant pot I played on day one. It was against an amateur player. And I got like the maximum I probably could have got from the hand, which gave me a chip lead and gave me the confidence to start putting pressure on other people.
He gets the aces against someone else's queens and manages to win many more chips than most people would have won with the same hand. Trickett is not a guy who sits there and waits for the big hands. Trickett is in there trying to win every pot any way he knows how.
I think he finished the day on like 6.7 million, 6th out of 37 left. So yeah, it was a really good day for him.
Despite a difficult draw, it was an impressive start. Surviving and then prospering, Sam was among the overall leaders, firmly in contention for the big prize.
I'm doing brilliantly. I've got off to a perfect start. Like I said, my table draw wasn't the best, but everything's going to plan. It's like, I couldn't wish for a better start, really.
And I think in about 2 or 3 hours' time, it's actually your birthday. What's your birthday wish?
It's pretty obvious, isn't it? Right? You don't have to be a poker player to read my mind. Yeah, I want to win the one drop.
26 years young, but there would be no celebrating yet.
It was just good vibes. Obviously, on your birthday, you're always in a good mood and you're happy and you wake up and there's probably no other place I'd want to be than playing $1 million tournament on your birthday.
If you put yourself in that situation, the TV cameras all over you, all your friends are there, it's your birthday, and you're playing for $18 million first prize. There are very few people who can focus on poker with all that going on.
Once again, the draw had not been kind. The tournament money leader, Antonio Esfandiari, would be sitting on his left.
When someone is sitting on your left, they're always acting after you. And so they always get to see what you do before they decide what they do. It's a huge advantage.
Most of the time, most hands, he's going to be able to make the final decision. The final decision is the most important decision and the easier one to make.
The two guys I was most worried about were Sam Trickett and Brian Rast. But really, the guy I was most worried about was Sam Trickett, so that was not fun.
You know, you have to make a plan about every player at that table. And being that Antonio was on his left, that's a very, very tough position to play someone from.
I didn't like my seat draw, and I didn't like that he had a lot of chips. I've played with Sam before. I respect his play a ton. I think that he and I were both not looking to really get involved too much with each other.
But these two gifted players would go head-to-head with explosive results.
Most of the time, the goal in tournament poker is to build your stack slowly. And the reason you build your stack slowly is because the only way to build your stack fast is to get a lot of chips in. That's putting your tournament life at risk. Well, day 2 was the big time that Sam had to put his life at stake, and he knew it.
Backed into a corner, Sam is forced to move all his chips in, with the table card still blind. He's gambling everything on this one play.
If Sam loses this pot, he's out of the tournament. If he wins the pot, he's one of the chip leaders and one of the favorites to take the 18 million.
You need to be able to make correct decisions under the hugest amounts of pressure. And that's a very special talent.
It was a very significant pot because I had all my chips in the middle as a 70% favourite, and obviously I could lose this pot and I'm out of the tournament.
So Sam here, the biggest position he's ever been in his life, he's playing a flip that's worth millions of dollars. He's never played a pot this big. That'll make you sweat.
Handball.
Yes! Yes! I think Sam got a little bit of a birthday gift there. Sam is such a fearless, aggressive player. He puts pressure on his opponents to such an extreme level that it forces them to make mistakes.
It was one of the best hands of Sam's career. Of the 8 players through to the live televised final, he led the way.
It's like by far been my best birthday of my life. Everything went to plan, like never looked back, like got off to an early chip lead in this tournament and it's just like been absolutely perfect all-round day of poker.
He's definitely going to win it. I'd put a bet on it if I was a betting person, but I don't gamble.
18.5 million, can't wait for it. It'll be the best party for the 3-day party.
Happy birthday is half eaten, so that represents that half the tournament is now surpassed.
It's not only the time at the table that counts. The pressure is so intense that there's a lot of guys who play in tournaments like this. If they're still in, they never sleep. The pressure's too much. They just stare at the ceiling all night, you know, thinking, I can't handle this. I hope I just get some big hands and get lucky, because I might cry.
But there was a birthday to celebrate. For once, however, that was a brief interlude. After an hour of R&R, Sam Trickett was already refocusing, hours ahead of the match of his life. Coming up, can the former plumber complete his incredible journey and win poker's biggest ever prize, a mouth-watering $18 million.
Sam Trickett needs help immediately.
Trickett has to have a diamond.
Las Vegas, July the 3rd, 2012, and Britain's Sam Trickett believes today will be the day he makes poker history. It's the final of the one drop. The winner will take home a record-breaking $18 million.
Welcome to the 2012 World Series of Poker from the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, the stakes are higher than ever with the biggest tournament we've ever seen, appropriately named the Big One. It's anyone's ball game right now. Brit Sam Trickett is the chip leader, a very dangerous player. As we take a look at the leaderboard, the bulk of the chips held by Sam Trickett and Antonio Esfandiari.
A lot of the hard work, from Sam's point of view, had been done on day two, because going into that final table with the big stack gives you a big advantage.
I've got no pressure on me whatsoever at the minute because no one can knock me out, so I'll be disappointed if I didn't get a top four finish from here. I'd have to get pretty unlucky.
I gave him a call on the morning of the final table, and I just said, "How are you feeling?" He said, "I feel great." He said, "I'm going to do it."
If Sam led the way, his biggest rival was not intimidated.
$18.3 million. If you win that, are you thinking that far ahead, or are you going to like retire to an island somewhere?
First of all, I have to correct you. There's no if, there's a when.
I thought I was going to win before the tournament started. I thought I was going to win 6 months before the tournament played. I just thought I was going to win.
But there was something more at stake for Sam. After 5 years, could he win his first championship bracelet, poker's equivalent of a World Cup winner's medal?
All the best players from around the world are in Vegas for that 6 weeks competing for these bracelets, and they're very prestigious.
Well, it's the ultimate, you know, and forget the money, it's about a legacy, if you like, and some people are interested in a legacy and some people aren't. If you want to become a great in poker, for me, you have to win a bracelet.
Sam Trickett, interestingly, has sort of been chasing that bracelet for a long time.
I cashed 6 times last year, but this year I'm only counting bracelets.
Even though he'd won all this money, he felt like he wanted the titles.
It's the only event in poker where you actually want to win it for reasons other than money.
I know that he promised his mum a bracelet years and years ago when he started playing. He said, "I'll get you a bracelet." So if anything, he wanted it more than anything to give his mum.
I think the bracelet, if he could win that, would be as much as the money to him, because it is the winning at the end of the day.
If the champion's bracelet was within touching distance, the real work was still to be done. The final day's play began with nerves affecting even the most experienced players. After all, talent can only take you so far.
There's one thing that for sure phases Sam at that final table, and it phases every poker player at final tables, and it's the fear of getting unlucky.
You can make the right decisions, but you know the results of the pot are determined through mathematical odds.
There's a lot of places in poker you can go left or you can go right. And it's pretty much a toss of the coin. And guys like Sam, they figure out more than anybody else whether to go left or whether to go right. It's not luck.
It wasn't long before Sam was centre stage once again. Vegas professional Brian Rast, the 2011 World Series of Poker winner, is renowned for his aggressive style. And he decided to take on Trickett.
The hand started where I raised from early position with a pair of threes in my hand.
Sam Trickett just has the look of a winner at the table. I'd never want to bet against him.
I bet, and he's called my bet. At this point, I'm pretty sure I've got the best hand.
Flop came 3, 4, 8, 3 hearts. So it was like, wow, here we go.
I bet 3.8 million on the turn.
3.8 million from Trickett.
The American had a strong hand and was ready to do battle. Rast was setting Sam up for an early exit from the tournament.
Rast not going anywhere.
Wow, this pot is huge.
Sam sat there for ages, and we're like, oh dear.
I was trying to think, as he called, what type of hands would he call me with? And alarm bells was kind of ringing. I felt like he had a really strong hand.
I was so comfortable. In fact, I was glad he was in the situation and not me.
He decided to trap me because he thought that I bluffed quite a lot.
If you show people that you're scared to get your chips in the center, then that's a huge disadvantage. So sooner or later, you have to show people that you can put them all in.
I had my back to him so I couldn't see his face, and all of a sudden he moved in. Brian Rast just snap called.
All in. All in. Hand of the night. Oh my goodness.
When he was all in and it was on the screen, I just couldn't look. I had to look away and say to someone, "Can you tell me whether he's won or not.
We couldn't tell who had which hand when they got flipped over.
And he turned around and he winked at us like, I'm thinking...
I kind of like went like that before I'd even won the hand. I just knew straight away I was going to win.
Trays against the nut flush.
What a cooler for Sam Trickett.
Sam knew exactly where he was at, and he came over immediately after and he said, I knew that guy had the nut flush. There was one option, to go all in.
I didn't look for it. I watched his reaction when the river came down. I looked at him, he turned around and went, oh yeah, that's what I said in my head. It went, ping.
Sam was back from the brink. Under extreme pressure, he'd underlined his exceptional nerve. The supporting cast of challengers was soon fading away, leaving Antonio, Sam and billionaire David Einhorn as the final three. Whoever could take the scalp of the amateur Einhorn would be in a commanding position.
If Antonio can dodge a 9, both he and Sam Trickett guarantee $10 million. Queen of Spades will be the last card that David Einhorn sees in this tournament.
They were down to the last two, with Sam, the outsider, still believing.
There's a smile.
Come on, come on.
Antonio had just won a big pot, so he had a substantial chip lead. But there were still enough chips in play that there was still a large skill element, so we were confident.
Where are we going later? It's going to be a 48 hours. Day night. Andrew says it's 500,000 on the card. 500k.
There was still plenty of room to manoeuvre my chips. I didn't feel like it was over by any means. I was thrilled to be heads up anyway because the money was so big now. But yeah, I was all out to win. I still felt confident.
But after knocking out Einhorn, Antonio felt unbeatable.
That was such a sick pot, and like I felt like it was my time.
I don't get nervous until he gets heads up. I've never been that nervous. I mean, I was crying when he made it heads up. I just couldn't watch.
I think after 3 days of hard play, and finally being guaranteed $10 million when he got to the head up against Antonio, I think there's a natural inclination to maybe celebrate too soon.
The final two showdown began. Neither player could significantly dent the other's chip count, which meant Sam would soon have to take another major gamble. He waited for the moment. This was his shot at World Championship glory.
I felt really confident. I had a strategy. I was going to limp a lot and not get into an ego war and just outplay and post flop. I had Queen 6 of diamonds and the board came Jack 5-5 with 2 diamonds. So I had a flush draw, a pretty good hand for heads up poker, and he bet and I raised him.
Trickett will do all he can to stop Antonio as he raises to $5.4 million.
And he did raise me back.
We raised to $10 million.
You heard him.
And I went all in.
And looks like he's going to raise again, maybe put another small raise in here. On.
All in.
All in from Antonio. Antonio Esfandiari with the 3-5s. Trickett with the diamond draw for all of $18.3 million in prize money. Sam Trickett at risk of being knocked out and giving Esfandiari the title. Sam needs just 1 diamond with 2 cards to come. And here's the turn card. Tray of hearts and 1 card to come. Antonio Esfandiari is just 1 card from winning the biggest prize ever in tournament poker. Sam Trickett needs help immediately.
Trickett has to have a diamond.
The biggest river card in poker is a heart. Antonio Esfandiari, the magician, pulls the biggest rabbit ever out of his hat.
An incredible journey, but this was a final step too far. Sam would have to settle for second place and a consolation prize of $10 million.
In every poker tournament, everyone's going to get knocked out except the winner. And everyone's going to be a little upset because winning is so big. If he wasn't gutted and disappointed by getting knocked out in second and winning $10 million, he wouldn't be a true competitor. He wouldn't be a true poker player.
He's in the game to win it. I think he wanted to win the 18 million. Obviously, it's fantastic to win the 10 million. I think the competitive nature about Sam, he wanted to win it.
You play to make history. And that's why Sam's in the game, and that's why he's so good at it. So it was great for Antonio. Antonio's a good guy. For Sam, he was still a little bit disappointed because he wanted to be the one holding the trophy.
I just knew I was going to win. You just have to put it out there and believe it, and sometimes it comes true. If the roles were reversed and I took second place and won 10 million, I would have, at that very moment, I would have cried. It's devastating.
I'm gutted, to be fair. I'm so proud of him, like, he's won $10 million, but
I know how much he's wanted it. For the next couple of days, it's going to be a bit sore.
I was crying my eyes out when it got to heads up. I just couldn't breathe. I was so proud of him.
I'm like being a bit hard on myself maybe. At the end of the day, I've done really well. I've won a lot of money and it's good. Like, you know what I mean? I'm really happy, but at the minute I'm just disappointed with myself.
So there was to be no Hollywood ending or World Championship bracelet. Not yet. But Sam Trickett had still made history. Just 5 years after switching from plumbing to poker, he is Britain's most successful player ever.
It's difficult to accept that somebody could win that sort of money and be disappointed, but he was. Because if he doesn't play it perfectly, and he thinks he could have done something slightly different, it's probably why he's good. It's praise on his mind.
It's hard to sum it up in a word. Like, obviously it's just breathtaking and it's surreal. Like, didn't really sink in for like a few days. When I got back here and like read a few of the trimmings, like my mum had got saved for me and what have you, and that's when I'm starting to realise now that how big of an achievement it was, and I'm proud.
His $10 million prize took the boy from Retford to 4th on poker's all-time money list.
Hi boys, how's it going? What's going on? Come in guys.
Sam, back in Retford, how does it feel?
I'm exhausted after all the travel and what have you, but obviously so glad to be back. I got a lot of thinking time on the way home, so it's like kind of unbelievable. It's hard to, I think it's finally sinking in.
Life's changed, but Sam Trickett won't. That's why those who know him believe the best is still to come.
I don't think I could be any prouder. I absolutely idolise him, and he's a star. Yeah, I don't want any more for him. As long as he's happy, that's the main thing, and that's all I want for him.
I firmly believe that Sam's up there with the top 4 or 5 people in the world at the moment, and good luck to him, and I think he's going to go from strength to strength.
Sam became not only the UK's biggest money earner in poker tournaments, he also became the biggest in Europe. Now, with his young age and his ability, I believe that Sam could be the biggest money earner in the history of poker in the next 10 years.
He just loves the game, even if it's a $1,000 tournament or $1 million tournament, he just loves playing the game.
My pride in Sam is primarily what he's achieved financially, but the way he's handled it, and it's not changed him. That's my real pride in him. He's still my son. He always was. Same lad.
I think right now Sam Trickett is in his prime as a poker player. But what I think will happen, Sam Trickett is going to decide that there's something bigger for him than poker, and he's going to use all the talents he has to do something else.
I think he will always be going for something more, something bigger. There's always going to be something, I think, with Sam.
I'm chuffed for him. In that kind of game with that kind of pressure, you can't begrudge anyone that kind of success. And this is a good story about someone who has made it.
When I've sat down at the table for the last few years, I've never felt that someone's just run over me. I've never felt out my depth. I just feel like comfortable at a poker table, and I always feel like I'm the best player at the table, so I'm just going to keep going until people are talking about me as one of the best players in the world.